Alright, so our build is done, and now we are going to create our containers. So just to make things a little more clear and focused, I've deleted all the other containers. Okay, and I'm using something called Fig. So basically Fig is, I think it's basically specific to macOS, but yeah. So what you would normally do is you would give a command like this. So after you install sail, you would do vendor bin sail up hyphen d. So that would actually create the containers, and it would kind of do them in a detached mode so that you don't have to keep a terminal open. And okay, so we're good. But because I'm using Fig, I've actually specified some aliases. You can specify an alias without Fig as well, but yeah, Fig is actually a quick way of doing it. So the alias that I have for the above command is sud. So sud. So once I do sud, it does the same thing. And if I want to um, bring all the containers down, it will be s down. There is also s stop, I believe, but yeah, I will just instead of going too much into the detail, uh, if we go to our Docker now, you'll see that Mailpage, MySQL, and Redis are up. And if you go to the env file, it would have made the desired changes there. And so Laragraph is the name of the database. So if we open Table Plus, I think we would have this up already, but I'll just edit it because there might have been instances where the name was different. So I'll just double check if the name of the I'm sure the username and password is the same. So we're going to do 127.0.0.1 and 3306, and we are just going to tag it as local, and then sail and password. I believe this is pretty much standard. So you just change the name of the database, and we should be good to connect. So you are now connected to the database, but we don't see any migrations run. So what we'll do is we will run the migrations again for when vendor bin sale artisan. There is this shortcut of sale artisan. Vendor bin sale artisan is shortcutted as sale artisan, and so we'll do migrate to see if we can migrate now. If we can. Okay, we can. So we are going to do sa migrate fresh hyphen seed. That's a command that we'll be using further down the line as well. If you're using some other tool besides Sail, you can very well do that. For example, Valet or something, or anything for that matter. That this would then be replaced by PHP Artisan. So that would be PHP Artisan migrate fresh hyphen seed. That's, I think, one of the most common commands around. So that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so here is what we'll do. If we come back here, we'll see that the migrations are already done, and so that's the beginning. So if we go to the database seeder, you'll see that we are running the user factory 10 times. Okay, right now everything is commented out, so you won't see any data here. So if we come here, and I think this is fairly basic stuff, you won't see any data in users. So if we run the same command again, or we can also do dbseed, okay, you'll see that there are now 10 users in the database. So that's some fairly basic stuff. Let's go beyond this, and let's start putting together factories for our speaker and event. The example that I did in the in the talk. So okay, we have the user factory, and what we'll do is we'll do PHP artisan make model. Now this is a shortcut that I do all the time. You can do PHP when creating files. You can very well do PHP artisan, or you can also do SA, the shortcut for vendor bin sale artisan, and SA make model. And let's start with speaker, and you do -mf. So -mf means you need a migration and a factory with this as well. So um, so the migration is here, and we'll first deal with the migration. We'll see. We'll populate this first, but before we do that, let's also put together. Let's do it with PHP just so that it sounds more familiar. And you can also see that that's also another way of doing it. So make model event -mf, and that would also give you the event migration and the event factory. So everything is automatically sorted, and this is following the best conventions. So we'll go to the events first, and we'll see what we can add here. So we'll first add the name of the event, and then we'll do I think we did location. Sorry about the typos. String, yeah, we did when city, I believe, yes. And we also did venue, and we wanted to say okay, we'll take the suggestion, but we won't use date time, we'll only use date. So there's a date that the event is happening on, and we'll also do we'll also check whether or not this is live. So we'll do boolean live or online. Let's make it online. Okay, and let's put a default value of false as well. So we'll initiate it as false, and we'll for so when you're initiating it here as false, then you don't actually even need to specify it on the factory, and it will always be defaulted to false. But you can always provide a value in factory, and that should still work. So we'll go to the event factory, and we'll just try to do some so we'll say name. All right, this is using a bit of an old syntax. So name, city, venue, date, and online. Let's make some changes. So first of all, this faker is actually old syntax. So we'll just use the fake method, and then okay. So name. Okay, there is something that I like to use very often, and that's random element. Okay, and all right, so this is a good suggestion. So there is like yeah, okay, great. So it gets the idea probably from my last talk, talk preparation, but it's like Laravel, Symfony, Vue.js, React, Angular, and then it concatenates it. There's a space in between, and then it concatenates it with another random element from this second array where it says, okay, meetup or conference or workshop, or you can add a few other words, but I think that should be fine. We can probably bring this on a line of its own, just to make things a little more clear. Or we can also do something else. We can come here. I think let's bring this on a line of its own, and let's just align it a bit, just so that we can see certain stuff. And okay, random element again. We want to pick one random city from out of these cities, and okay, so that should give us. So why is it complaining? It's complaining because we don't have a comma here. Okay, and city, is it still complaining? It shouldn't. But okay, for name and then city, we'll see what's wrong. There must be something missing. Okay, faker random element. Okay, it needs to be random element actually with an yeah with E as capital. And then we seem to have everything, but there's one bracket missing here. So I think that's probably the reason. Yeah, that's the reason. Okay, so we're just picking up random cities now. We're not say picking Pakistan cities, but that should be fine. And venue, we can give an address, or we can also use a random element here. And I mean, this is just to make the data sound, a little more fun. So yeah, we'll just pick what is offered. Uh, Let me actually close this, and this should come center stage. So for example, it's Google headquarter, Microsoft Office, or Microsoft HQ, or Facebook, or maybe Amazon campus, or something like that. So that should work. We can also give it like in my talk. I actually gave some of the Pakistani venues, so that would make more sense for the audience. I think, okay. Now we're going to use date time this month. All right, date time this month, one of my favorites when I want something that's more reasonable, that's more legible. We don't want a 1978 date here. We want something that's happening this month, so we're going to do this. So fake boolean should be fine. So if you see, I think name, city, venue, date, online, everything is covered. And all right, so we are good in terms of the event. Let's go to the speakers now, and let's say what should be. Let's choose what we are going to have there. So we're going to have string name, and then we are going to have, let's say, email. Okay, and yeah, maybe bio. So we're going to use text because bios can be a little long. So you can use bio and name, email, bio, and maybe photo. Yeah, we're going to use uploads later in the series. So let's do photo, and let's do a Twitter handle. That should be nullable. What else? So maybe we can add the city as well. We can say okay, table and string. I'm sorry about these typos. I have to type going over a wire that's connected to my mic, so it's causing a lot of typos. But yeah, I'll try to get better at it now. So where were we? So photo, Twitter, and now we were going to add. We were going to add something else. What was it? Name, email, bio, photo, Twitter, and yeah, city. So we were going to add a city, and we can also probably add a country. That would be good. So we have enough stuff here that can indicate um, maybe also Laravel, maybe a Boolean of Laravel certified or something like that. But I think this should be good for now. Okay, so we have the speakers again. We'll open the speaker factory on the side. So that's a really nice feature with VS Code that I like. So okay, now it's taking the hint and it's using the new syntax. So email bio should be a paragraph. Photo we can just I think we should be good with this. We don't want to use whenever you're using photo factories. Don't ever use it because one of my strong sides is testing as well, and there was this test suite where I was actually using some fake photos, some fake photo files, but that would kind of increase your um, time to seeding the time to run the factory a lot. So yeah. So I think this faker random element is silly. So I'll just remove this, and we'll just go with this for now. We don't want to really show any picture, any of these pictures, but let's just do that. So Twitter. I think so. Twitter will do username. Okay, and what else was there? So city, we can just add any city and any country because speakers can be from a wide range of cities and countries. So we seem to be in good shape here. Photo, Twitter, city, country. So this is putting together the factories, and now we'll need to go to the database seeder, and we'll need to add these two factories there. So just so that when we give the seed command, the database is actually seeded. So following the trend, it's doing this. But what I have a better idea. So something that I used, I'll say for example events, and we'll use an events factory to create 10 events, and then for each events, yeah, you can use it like this as well. You can use the each function, you can use the for each loop, and I think this should be working now. We'll see if something doesn't. Let's just try use the same command, migrate fashion seed, so that will migrate over everything that we have and also run everything in the okay. Now call to undefined method speakers. Now event speakers. All right. The reason why it's doing that is we don't have, and it's good that it actually reminded me. We actually need to add the relationships here. So we can say protected. Sorry, no, not protected fillable. We'll say public function speakers, and yeah. So yeah, I think one thing that we missed in the speakers migration is also the event ID. So we are actually tying one speaker to one event, although that's not like really a very good approach probably, but yeah, we'll do that. Just for the sake of this example, that should be good. So you can there's multiple ways that you can use this. So you can say for an ID for a model event class, and that should work. Okay, and if you want, you can use table for an ID, event ID constraint, that should work. Um, let's use this and see what we can do. Okay, now if you want something to be nullable at any point in time, or if you want it to be nullable, defined as nullable, you actually need to do that before constrained. So if you do it after constrained, it will not work. Something I discovered the hard way a while ago. But anyways, okay, nullable, constrained, and what we want to do is we want to actually let's bring this on a line of its own as well. And then we want to specify what would happen if it's updated or deleted. This is one way of doing it. You can also use the other syntax, which is on delete set null, something like that, and on in the same way on update cascade. So both work, both should be fine. So now we have a nullable event ID here as well, which is constrained. That means which is tied to the event model, and it becomes null when it's deleted, and it cascades on update. So I think we're in good shape here, but we need to update the speaker event as well. Sorry, speaker factory as well, which we haven't set up by the way right now. So yeah, we'll do that as well. But before we do that, I think let's finish setting up our relationships. So speakers and the inverse relationship would be, I think it'll pick it up itself, but let's just try to add that. Public function event belongs to, so speaker, this is the way to read it. Speaker belongs to a speaker, belongs to an event, and an event has many speakers. So everything looks good here. So the only thing that is there is we need to set up the speaker. Okay, we did set up the speaker factory. Sorry, I think that was speaker model that I opened. Anyways, so I think we're in good shape here. On the speaker factory, we need to just add the event ID thing. So we'll say event ID, and Okay, now this is something that I use a lot, and this is how I do it. So event, I'll import the event, and there is one way that you can use event factory that would generate an event if it's not there. But I tend to use this because normally I have the model ready before we arrive here. So pluck ID random. So for every single row, it will actually pluck an ID from the event factory, and it from the event model, and it would insert it here. So that would give us some random event IDs. Now that's that, and since we have everything set up here as well, let's just do, because we have also set up the speaker relationship, because that's what was missing when it was calling this. So we'll see if everything goes according to plan. So event speakers save many. Okay, now I'm not sure if this is the best way of doing it, but yeah, we'll just go with the flow for now, and we'll do this. I'll show you the other way of doing this as well. Fail to open reference table events. Um, Okay, there's a reason why this is happening, and I think most of you who have worked with migrations, with Laravel migrations before, you can actually know right away what's going on. So what happened was we created the speaker event for speaker migration first, and then we created the event migration. And the reason it's not going for the reason it's stopping here, if you look at this will actually give you, okay, artisan 35. So why it's actually stopping on line 23? It must have mentioned this somewhere as well, but I don't know. Anyways, so basically why it's stopping here is the event ID is not, it's not there. It's unable to populate this. Why it's unable to populate this? Because we don't have the event migration run yet. So as you'll see, all the migrations that I've run, the event migration is not run. So the quick way of fixing this is you need to put the date and timestamp before this. So what I normally do is, just to quickly get over this problem, is that I tend to make it 9 March, for example. So that'll be one day before now. So this migration will run before this migration. Now this is a long-standing problem, and I don't know, maybe the Laravel community should do something about it, but that's how it is, right? For a very long time. So we'll run this again, and keeping our fingers crossed, we'll see if everything works, and yes, it does. So as you can see, the events migration is running first, and then when it comes here, it can pick up that, okay, there is the event ID is there because the events are already there. Events migration is already there. So hope you note that tip as well. Okay, now if we come back to Table Plus, you'll see that, I mean, everything is populated. We have an events table where we have all the data, we have all the names of the events, we have all the random cities, we have all different venues, and we have the date. Now remember, the date time this month is automatically going to be translated into a date because the column type is date. So I would actually strongly encourage you. There's a lot of types in. I think I might as well do a separate video on this. But you know, when you're building your database, you should actually specify your types very well. That actually saves you a lot of trouble further down the line. So, for example, if this was a string, I mean, you would have to absolutely add a validation, and still there would be no database level validation on this. So I mean, right now you can't insert any other string. It has to be a date. Now, Boolean, you specified a Boolean. Some people use integer. I mean, why can't then someone put in 9 or 5 or 7 in this? It has to be 1 and 0. So, I mean, it has to be a Boolean. It has to be either 1 or 0. So that's that. And then if you go to speakers, you'll see that you see different names of the speakers. You'll see their bio. So that's one paragraph of data. But because you had specified text, it would work. If you specified as string, it wouldn't. Then there is photo, so we have the same string here. We'll see how we can update this later. Twitter, there's this Twitter handle. So these are random handles. I mean, you can actually generate the Twitter handle from the name as well, or from the email, and that can be also one way. But yeah, we're just dealing with faker nonsense data right now, so it shouldn't be a problem. So there's city, there is country, and there is event ID. So as you can see, everything has for the way we had set up the database seeder was that for every single event there should be three speakers. So if you come here, you'll see that for every single event there are three speakers now. So you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the event IDs, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have overall we have 30 speakers for these 10 events. Now, in a real world scenario, one speaker might actually belong to multiple events. Um, so, and vice versa. So, I mean, um, one event has multiple speakers, and one speaker has multiple events. So that would be a good use case for a pivot table and a many-to-many relationship. But anyways, I think we are good for now. Where the event is, we are because we're just dealing with random data and we're just talking about one event in one speaker concept right now. So I think this should be good. If you want to add the same speaker for a different event, you can still do that, and that shouldn't be a problem unless you have something as unique. So speaking of unique, I mean, just going along these lines again, coming back to the database, if you go to speakers, there is something that you want to keep unique besides the ID, what you'll do is, for example, you can add this unique method here, and that should actually give you unique speakers, uh, speakers with unique emails. So that's again a database level validation. For with faker data, it almost always works. I mean, 99% of the times, I've rarely seen this. I haven't actually seen this fail. So this should work every single time. Of course, I mean, you can add it on others as well. But yeah, I mean, setting up your database correctly, you mean that means you've set up a lot of stuff correctly. So that's the setup part, and I think that should give you more insight into how I got to this point where everything was set up. And I think we'll add a stop here, and we'll say, okay, setup done. Okay, and so that should give us a. So I mean, if you ask me, you should actually be committing very often. I actually like to commit wherever I get the opportunity, wherever I see, okay, I have now a place where my work is at a particular place. I would actually do a commit right away. I would actually even push it. So I push at my workplace. I push my work every single day. There have been days where I've actually learned this the hard way as well. So there have been days where I didn't push, and then I mean I had 3 days of work, and my hard drive all of a sudden decided to crash. It even crashed in a Mac. So it's a machine at the end of the day. So you should really kind of push daily. So let's make it let's call it a day for this video, and in the next video we will start dealing with the GraphQL stuff. Thank you.